Hello traders, today is day number 70 of small cap market open test trading. I've written a plan specifically to trade small cap stocks. Today was trade number 82. We're going to take it all the way to 100 trades before we decide just how profitable this plan is and if there's any tweaks that need to be made. So today, as always, we're trading with our small cap screener. These are my criteria. Right now, it's well past the market close. I did not have time to make this video right after I finished trading. This all happened right at the market open. I only trade from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 Eastern time, and VTNR was the stock that we traded. It's still up here on the screener. I believe it was number 5 in volume by the time I was done trading it, but it was always on the first page of the screener just a few minutes after the open, and so it met our screener criteria, but it also has to meet the daily chart criteria, and you'll see that in the video. So this video is from the open. This is just after 9:30. The market is opening, and I'm looking at my screener on my laptop. You can't see that part, and that's how I'm picking these stocks. So I've got ISPO, SGLY, but they must also meet the daily chart criteria, and all of that is written in detail in my trading plan. If you're interested, absolutely no pressure. I do have that trading plan available at patreon.com/tradingarmor. So now you can see I have VTNR. This was actually a pretty interesting day, and this trade is extremely interesting, and you really should watch this whole trade take place and I'm going to show you some stuff that happened afterwards that has a big effect on the results of this and how it affects our trading plan and our statistics. So first, let's look at SLI, because this one was very close to triggering a trade, but it didn't, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. It broke out through the previous session high. That's this first yellow line. It made a first high after that, and then this white line is there kind of prematurely just waiting for the second high to be established, but that never happened. VTNR did all the same stuff, but triggered my entry before SLI triggered an entry. So I am kind of a first come, first served trader. When all these things, all these criteria are met, whichever stock meets it first, that's the one that I trade, and that just prevents me from kind of second guessing myself. Did I pick the right stock? That kind of thing. You might be looking at VGR here and notice that it's got a beautiful pattern here on the 1 minute chart, but it did not meet the daily chart criteria. And that means that on the daily chart, it was trading below the 200 MA. So that's a long-term downtrend, and we will be trading against the longer-term trend. That could be a viable strategy if you test it to 100 trades, but that has nothing to do with the strategy that we're testing here. So we only trade stocks that are trading above the 200 MA on the daily chart, and then there's all the other criteria that I've been talking about that must also be met. So let's fast forward a little bit here, and we'll see VTNR getting close to triggering our trade. And I'm also going to talk about price action and subjectivity, trying to figure out, is this a good setup or not, that kind of thing. And we'll just wait till this trade gets triggered here. So here we go. Let me just back it up to where I entered the trade. So this is the second high of day established right here. And then my entry, whoops, I didn't go back far enough. My entry is for the break of a 1 minute candle after it pulls back from the second high of day. So right now I'm hovering over this candle. The high you can see over here, that's what that H stands for, is 948. So I want to see this candle hit 949 or better, or whatever candle makes a new high, but it just so happens that it is this candle here. So I'm looking at the price bubble right here. That's where I'm focused, and there's 949. You can see that I activated my hotkeys right at that moment. I got 1 cent slippage, which is nothing at all, and if you get slippage on the way up on your entry, that's generally a sign that there are other people buying at the same spot, and that's a good thing because you want to be getting in where other traders are getting in. Then I place my stop loss in the appropriate position. I use my custom-made calculator. I made this myself in Excel. All this stuff is also available on patreon.com/tradingarmor, the calculators, the spreadsheets that you see me use. So we use that. We get our profit target, and that is based off of a reward factor of 2. So that means that whatever we're risking, our reward is going to be double that amount. We're also tracking 3 times our risk, and I'm going to show you what happened with that toward the end of the video. Did this thing go to 3R? Would that have worked as well? Because all of our statistics and data that we've collected so far says that 3R is a better profit target than 2R. It seems like a no-brainer, but there is some probability of working out that has to be factored in there, and that's not something you'll know until you have collected data for 100 trades or more. And I'll show you that toward the end of the video, the statistics, a little bit about the statistics, and then tomorrow we'll do a bigger wrap up of all the statistics. So anyway, here we are, we're in the trade. We got near our ideal profit target. This first green line here, that is the profit target. I might have said we got the ideal profit target, but ideal entry, nearly ideal entry here, just 1 cent slippage. And this profit target right here, this green line is the profit target if we would have gotten our ideal entry at 9.49. So I always mark that out on the chart, because if that gets hit, but my real profit target doesn't get hit and I end up getting stopped out, then that's another reason I stop trading for the day. That's all written in my plan. And if it's not obvious to you why, it will be after you've been trading for a little bit of time. You can imagine a scenario where that happens, you get stopped out, and because it didn't hit your actual profit target, but it hit your ideal profit target. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be annoyed. You're probably going to break your plan, try to revenge trade, who knows what. So if something like that happens, I just walk away from trading and I just take the -1 hour loss for the day and I come back tomorrow, try again. That's not what happened today. You're going to see this went all the way up to our profit target and even more later. So let's fast forward and see how this trade played out. This is pretty unusual. This is the first entry and this thing hit our 2-hour profit target. Let me show you that live. Why do I say that's unusual? Because I've been tracking how often our first entry works out, and I'll show you those statistics in just a moment. But 75% of the time, our first entry fails. So this was kind of an anomaly. This fit in that 25% area where 25% of the time the first entry works out. So that's what happened on this trade. And we tracked that on the spreadsheet, as well as did the 3-hour profit target hit. And all of that's important data, and I'll kind of point it out in just a moment on the spreadsheet. So here's the spreadsheet. This is the only part I've updated up to this point, at least for this week. All of this other information is is a week old, basically. I'm going to update it all tomorrow. So trade number 1, as I said, only works out 25% of the time. We could actually mark that as profitable. Why? That doesn't sound profitable at all. It's actually break even with our 3-hour win rate, but if we get a few more first entries that work before we're at 100 trades, we're at 82 now. Again, I haven't updated this yet. Then this still becomes a viable entry. So it's right on the edge right now. And then trade number 2, you can see works out about 54% of the time. That may seem also like a low probability of working out, but remember, 2R all or nothing trading has a break even of 33%. Anything above that is profitable. 3R all or nothing trading has a break even of 25%. So that's why that trade number 1 could still be a possible trade once we're done with this plan. And as far as trade number 3 goes, that data is not very helpful, because you can see up here, I've only taken 6 third entry trades. So that's not that meaningful. We would like the number to be closer to 100. And on trade number 1, we're at 48 now. Trade number 2, we're at 28. So those are much bigger numbers. And we'll just keep tracking this data as we, even when this test is done, we'll keep tracking this data. So eventually we will have hundreds of trades to look at. So now back to the chart. Did this thing go to 3R? This is really interesting. And I didn't talk about the price action thing, and I want to talk about that really quick, because the reason why I took this entry was because it met all of my criteria. I was forced to take it because of the plan. But if we're looking at just these candlesticks here, if you're a price action trader, if you read candlesticks, then you would probably look at this and say, this is really ugly. I'm not interested. Again, remember, think about it like this, like it's playing out in real time. Of course, this looks great. And then you start to see this pullback, but instead of a pullback, it chops around here, breaks over the 1-minute candle here, but then comes right back down on the next one. And if you would have, say, entered for the break of this candle and placed your stop loss a cent below here, you might have gotten stopped out on this one. Maybe not. It's a little tricky. But either way, this is very choppy price action here. It's very messy. And I was noticing that, of course, when I was trading. And the subjective side of me says, wow, this trade's probably not going to work out. Look at how nasty this is. But I don't care about that. All I do is trade my plan. If my criteria is met, if my entry is triggered, I take it, because I have statistical data saying that it's profitable when I do that. So I ignore my subjective reasoning and I just stick to the objective trading plan. And we entered here, and you know what happened next is the trade went to 2R. But did it go to 3R? So let's see, let's go up here. This is where the 3R profit target is at 10:01. Let's see what happened. And let me put a line on the chart, a new line, marking out where our stop loss was. Let's just put that in purple for now, just so that we don't get confused. So that's where our stop loss was, this purple line. So if we would have had our profit target set to 3 times our risk, what would have happened? So this thing just kind of pulls back, which you expect after a huge run like this. But again, I don't judge the trades once I'm in them. If I was holding the 3R, I would have just sat there and held my profit target at 3R. I would not have cared about all of this. In fact, I probably, pretty soon here, I would have closed out the platform and just let the bracket orders do their thing. And look at just how sideways this thing ended up moving throughout the day. But the only question is, did it hit our stop loss or did it hit the 3R profit target before the end of the day? Because that's what would have happened if we would have just been in this trade for 3R. I would have closed the platform and just left my bracket orders out there. And you can see that we did get our 3R target at not even 11:30. So it didn't even take that much longer to hit it. And this thing did continue even higher, probably to 4, 5, maybe 6R. And that's all stuff we're going to be tracking once this test trading is complete. We're going to hold till 3R. We're going to be tracking 4R, 5R, as well as 2R, because at any point things could flip around. So anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Hopefully you found this interesting. I think this was one of the more interesting trades that I've had lately, especially considering how it played out throughout the day and how that price action was kind of ugly near my entry, but still the trade worked and it matches our statistics. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this video or the trading plan or anything, and I'll get back to you in the comment section. As always, my main message with all my videos is to trade with a plan. You need to have a plan before you're entered the trade, and you need to stick to that plan no matter what. So as always, I leave you guys with stick to your plan no matter what. Always take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.